All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Brewing with Birch and Bromley, your favorite hosts of all UFS content. We've had a little bit of a break for the holidays. I'm sure that we won't do much more this month with holidays stuff going on. But hey, we're here and we're ready to talk to you about the Tam called it taste testing earlier, and I really hated that, but we're gonna call it taste testing.
That's what they call it in the Shameless Discord, and I really dislike it. Just call it playtesting because it's like Rival, right?
Oh yeah, I hate Rival. I hate Sensei. I hate Rival, and I hate taste testing. But I'm gonna use it because I think it's dumb.
You think it's dumb, so I think it's dumb and I shouldn't use it, and you think it's dumb and you should use it. Is that what you're saying? That,
No, no, I shouldn't use it either. I just like Tam said it earlier, and I was like, this is not a real thing that people do.
yeah,
But yeah, they launched off their playtesting like a week and a half ago or so,
yeah, about
probably
that.
at this
Right
point.
before Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Right before Thanksgiving, launched our play testing. Um, and I think this has been so far kind of an unmitigated disaster. Not necessarily from the player's perspective. I think like their release of this playtest has been just a nightmare.
Mm.
As far as I can tell, there's no actual way to provide feedback without just like messaging Tim Friedlieb.
Oh no, there totally is.
Oh, do they have forms now?
Yeah, I can send you the form, dude.
Okay. Well, I know that this released without any forms to fill out, no real direction to go, and just kind of like threw everybody out into the wilderness with like a pile of cards. And it's like what? It's like 18 characters, 13 characters, something like that, right? It's like a big number.
There's a lot of them.
It is a large number where they just kind of tossed everybody out to the wilderness, and we're just like, hey guys, have fun, which is, I think, kind of a nightmare. I think they should have been much more specific with this play, like with the play testing, if you're gonna do it this way, which I also don't think is a great idea.
Sure. Well, so they released, let me look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 22 characters.
Weren't
And
there 23 because they deleted one?
did they delete one? Oh, yeah, 23, because they deleted the one guy who was just fucked up.
Yeah. So 23 characters that you released into the UFS world
Hmm.
with no direction at all,
Right,
no sense of what would and would not be legal when these cards came out,
right.
and are just like, go at it, boys.
Yeah, the biggest thing that I was like begging from Jasco in that video I made with Tam a month or so ago was like I wanted Jasco to put out an article saying these are the goals of the playtest, these are the reasons why we have the thing, and why not have a designer go through each character and say what the goal of that character was, right?
Sure.
Like, and it doesn't maybe they don't have to type it out, but like a 3-minute video about each character, right? Going through each one of his cards. That's
Yeah.
right. Like that's a lot of work, but it's probably what you need for these things, right? And instead, we're having like us do that. We're not designing the
You're
cards. We're playtesting the
Yeah.
cards, right? And like they have done a few of the right things, right? Like they have a community playtest uh, form that we send in, and it's very specific, right? It's not all 23 characters. They just like these are the 6 characters that we want you to look at this week. These are the ones we're getting feedback for
Okay,
right
so
now,
they
right?
actually made it a little bit more focused
Yeah.
since
So
the
they're
original
yeah,
release.
yeah. So since last week, they up Tim Friedlieb opened up the playtest form, um, and it's good, right? So one of the things, if they only release 6 characters at a time, right, then you wouldn't get like, oh, these are the plans for like all of these. You wouldn't get all the support for every character,
Sure.
right? You know, like that's one of the problems I could see is that if you only release 6 cards and you're like, well, this guy's supposed to really use this guy's stuff, so why we have to put that in there? So it's like, here's all the characters, look at all their stuff, you know, think of it like 3 sets worth of stuff, right? 2 small sets and a big set, or something like that, whatever. And use their support, make really busted, cool things. But I want you to focus on these 6 characters. That makes sense. But they didn't say that, right? It's just like that's what the feedback form says. The feedback form is just like, I'll read it again. Thanks for participating in our community playtest. Below, we will be asking for feedback on a few groupings of cards at a time. To provide feedback, please click on the picture. It doesn't say, hey, you should be working on these ones. These are the ones we're looking to work on right now,
Yeah.
right?
That's weird.
It just says these are the ones we're getting feedback on, right? And so like, and the way that we go through feedback on it is weird. You put your name, you talk about the character, and it's like ranks. It's like on a scale of 1 to 5, how fun is this card to you? 1 to 5, and then on a scale of 1 to 5, how strong is this card? Are there notable interactions with the card? Are there any rules text that's unclear? The one
Sure.
thing it doesn't ask you about on any of the things is what could make this card better in either direction, right? When it
Yeah,
asks
no, I
how
agree.
fun is this card, why is it not fun? When I ask how powerful this card is, why do you think it's that powerful?
Why is it powerful?
Right, it doesn't
Why,
ask that.
why,
It's
why?
yeah, and that's the biggest thing. If I were asking for feedback from somebody, I don't care how, like, because somebody's gonna be pissed off about. It's just the way it is.
Sure.
You know, like
Sure.
some people are gonna be pissed off about cards, about every single card. You can't please everybody, right? But if you get the feedback, you can get valuable intelligence, invaluable information about their experience with the cards, whether it be their first impression, because you can get that from somebody. You can clearly tell if somebody's just giving you their first impression or if they played with the card through the feedback. As it is right now, it's just like, oh, they looked at
Yeah,
this,
right.
they looked at this, and
Like, oh, you looked at Breakup Meal Lady,
Yeah.
and you never actually even tested her a single time, but you think it's not powerful, or you think it's too powerful,
exactly. So
but
that's
you never even once went through the hoops
Yeah.
of like building a deck. Yeah, no, that's silly to me.
yeah, and
I
you know,
think.
you go ahead,
Yeah,
sorry.
go ahead. No,
Uh,
finish your thought. Go ahead.
So like there is the playtest feedback, right? The fact that there is a playtest is really really cool, right? Especially because a lot of these cards are really swingy in terms of power, right? Like this
Yeah.
is clearly early in the design process. Hopefully, I'm hoping it's early, right? That they are changing these cards a lot. I hope, right? Um, but like the way that we give feedback should improve, I think, and like very specific things that they could easily do, right? They're doing the right thing by asking for specific characters. 6 is a lot, I think, but like that's fine.
Yeah.
If you want to go with 6, right? Make the form that you're submitting. I like that it's tied to your name. I think that's good. I don't think it should be.
Yeah, it gives you
Yeah,
accountability.
I don't think it should be
It also
anonymous.
it's also letting you know who is playtesting.
Exactly. Yeah, I
like
mean, there's
what
big.
your audience
Yeah,
is.
like if you have, and that makes it so that like the designers can also come in and say their stuff. I mean, you could lie about it, but whatever. But like when you ask how powerful is this card, why do you think it's this powerful, right? When you ask how fun is this card, why is it that fun, right? And like
Yeah.
maybe that makes it a little bit harder, like a more tedious for the person filling it out. But like, I don't care. Spend 20 minutes talking about the character to improve it. If you're going to
Sure.
give feedback, right? Like if you spent a whole day and you're like really vigorously testing a character, and you're like, most of what I'm doing right now is just I'm trying to have fun, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And we've come to conclusions because there's clear winners and clear losers at the moment, right? I'll wait for it to come a little bit closer before I really start testing things. But like, make it a little bit more viable to come in and really give good feedback, on each card. Why is this? Why do you think this way? Why do you? Why?
Right.
And then as far as releases, if they have more cards, they should probably hold on to it a little bit. Work on this batch,
Yeah. No. Absolutely. I definitely agree that if there's more in the works, they should probably do one batch at a time.
Yeah.
I think that like one of my biggest problems with this is clearly like these cards are very very early
Mhm.
in their like the development cycle. Like they're not being released tomorrow.
Right.
I think I have a much bigger problem with them just being like, here's 23 characters that are not even polished
Mm-hmm.
to give to like a community full of people,
Mm-hmm.
than to go, okay, let's get like 12 people that we trust within the community. We give them access to this. We
Mhm.
give them specific goals for these cards. Like we fill out, like you're saying, like we do it in groups of like 8 or whatever, because there's 23. There were 23, so like groups of 8 almost works.
Yeah.
And you go, hey guys, take these 8, give us all of your feedback.
Right.
And you do it with like 10 people. You don't have to make it secret. You could still be like, okay, well, this is the cards that like Tam's got these, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
But you go, you get these people to sign like some kind of something where like, don't release this mod to people though. Just play test it amongst yourselves, do your thing. And then once you get closer to like a more refined product, then you go, here the rest of the community are all of them.
Right.
You take everything, you mix it all up, you play with it, you mix it in with the rest of the stuff. Like and then you're gonna have more of a like a genuine like, I guess, feel for things. I think it's gonna look a lot better. Like I think the testing will go smoother. I don't think you're gonna have so many like insane outliers when you're dropping it to a incredibly large amount of people, where you just go, okay, well, everybody knows this card's broken. Everybody knows this card's broken. Everybody knows this card's broken. Like, what's the point? And then they're going to look at other things and be like, well, I don't want to test this. This isn't my style. This isn't my thing. Blah, 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 blah. So stuff's going to get overlooked if it's boring now. Whereas, like, if you gave it to, like, super reputable people or people you trusted within, like, a circle that you would feel comfortable with giving them to hash out some of, like, to just polish it up maybe for, like, a week or two. You polish up for, like, so we'll call it 3 weeks. You get 1 week of polish on the 8, 1 week of polish on 8, 1 week of polish on 8. And then you go, all right, here are all the little Timmies that aren't actually, like, contributing much. Go have fun, play. And then maybe they provide some kind of comments. Maybe they find some weird stuff. But, like, then the vast majority of people will already, for one, if it's being streamed by, like, somebody, they'd see it. They'd be like, okay, wow, that's cool. I like Garbage Can Guy, even though it's bullshit. But, like, Garbage Can Guy at this point would be more balanced because somebody would already been able to see him and go, no, we can't allow this to happen. Instead of just going, fuck it. What's the worst that happens if our 5-hand size draws 9 cards at the end of their opponent's turn? That couldn't possibly get out of hand really quickly, could it? Like, if that effect was once per game, it would be insane.
Sure. Yeah.
Once per game, draw 9 cards. Okay. That's broken.
It's pretty good.
You can do it every turn.
Yeah. So I'm with you to a certain extent. I think that you gotta have the grand context, right? If they're like, these are the sets of cards that are gonna come out within the next year, right? Like, this is their next year's plan, right? Then for playtesting purposes, you want to make sure that everything in the year is gonna gel with what's left in the format, right?
Sure.
If you say this is 3 sets worth of stuff, I don't know whether it's 3 or 2, right? Then you say work with everything from Cowboy Bebop on, right?
Yeah.
And delineate that this is a set. This is a set, right? Like, you can release all of those cards for the year, but you should say this is coming out this time and will be playable with this stuff. This is coming out at this time and is playable with that stuff. And, like, I know that you're spoiling by saying that. Like, you're like, oh, well, we already announced that Yu Yu Hakusho is coming out this time and that My Hero is coming out at this time. But, like, dude, everybody already knows which characters are.
It took like 1 day for people to figure out who was who. Like, not even maybe.
It's like, very clear which
took
ones
like
are.
45 seconds. For
I mean, based on piles,
crack it.
Some of these piles have 9 cards in them. Some of these piles have 7 cards in them. That's not a whole that's not a huge leap to make to know which ones are from a certain set or another one. You know.
Yeah.
And so I think that you need all of them for one thing, right? So when you give it to people, that they should be able to play with all these cards that they're going to be playing with in the future, so you don't miss something, right? But I agree that there should be assignments, right? I think that instead of being like, here's 23 characters, go play Fridge Man because he's fucked up, go play Peanut Butter and Jelly Guy because he's fucked up, right? Like, give people assignments, right? Because right now all we're getting is feedback on what's busted, right? What's really good. Nobody is looking at, like, the garbage plate guy. Nobody's looking at the...
I didn't even know there was a donut card.
Yeah, the donut, the pink box of donuts.
I didn't even know that was a card.
And, you know, that character seems pretty cool, too. That's a lot of speed on a character, right? But, like, if you had assignments, right? If you were like, in order to get this mod, you got to sign up for this thing. And we'll email you and tell you what your assignment is. And if they're trying to go, like, meme tier, call your opponent a rival, which I think is stupid and unintuitive, then call it, you know, oh, this is, you know, your sensei assigns this to you. This is your quest.
Yeah.
Right? But you
can... This is your fucking kami, dude. Yeah. Kami assigns you this.
But you can do that where it's like you give one guy, like, that, you know, it's like when they did the previews at Worlds, right? Tim asked me if I wanted to preview one of the decks, and he was like, I think you would like this character, so I'm giving you this one when you get here. And it was Julia. It ended up being Julia, right? And Julia had a really cool effect that I could build around, and I really tooled around, you know, weird, like, combos and things like that. And he picked that for me because he knew what kind of player I was. And we have tons of players like that. You would give Tim Keefe, you know, the like, 6-hander that is aggressive and can play, you know, even game, right? You would give Phil Birch the 7-hander that can oppressively aggress and also pull back defensively on a dime. You would give Ben Shoemaker the balls to the wall aggressive deck. And you would give, I don't know, Jose a 5-hander that responds and commits his face to give your check -4.
Yeah, you would give Jose anything that could play massive size.
Anything that would play massive size.
He just gets Big Mac, so he can give massive size 14 damage on things.
14 damage. I made that deck. Thank you very much. um, but I think that assignment was really cool, and it doesn't have to be like me saying give me a character to play with is a little bit much. But you
it
could
doesn't have
literally
to be pretentious.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be like give Phil Birch a character, but it could literally be like you signed up, you get a character, right?
Sure.
Like
Sure.
And so to pinpoint the thing, and that way some characters don't get like left behind in terms of playtest. Because right now I have seen Keto Competeer, I've seen Dumpster Dive Diner, I've seen the PB&J guy, I've seen the Stuff in My Fridge guy like 7 or 8 times. I've seen a bunch of different decks of this guy. Same with the Things in a Stick guy. I have seen one Sizzling Fajitas guy.
Like I said, I didn't even know Donuts was a card, and I've watched a fair amount of
Big
you
Bucks of Donuts.
play with Tam.
Yeah.
And you play with Jose and like stuff like that. I didn't even know it was a card.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a pretty good card too. Like it's great. It's a 2-check. It's big. Cool, awesome. It picks up another donut. Cool. But the bigger thing is that like the whole point of the playtest is to get all of these things in line. Right now, all we're going to be achieving is dialing back some of the really powerful things, not bringing up the power level of the weaker things. Right. The feedback that we should be having.
It's not even necessarily true that those things are necessarily as weak as possible, but if on their face they look weak, people aren't going to gravitate towards them. So like you're not even finding the interactions that could be broken.
Yep.
Like you're not like you're looking at it face value, and you're not like deep diving into like maybe card pool knowledge where you could just be like, oh wait, this actually has this really fucked up interaction that like creates an infinite of some sort, like through random weird stuff. Like I know that we don't have any of those in playtest because there are like we have the sharks of the community who find infinites immediately,
right?
Like the Kevin Brobergs and the Jesse Cervinis and such, where they like find an infinite and just like here's an infinite, here it is. It's mostly Rochester. I feel like
there's one by the way.
Infinites, but
there's one.
Why I used to Rochester people, but like. I don't disagree with like the giving people assignments thing. I think that it should have been some requirement to getting this other than just like, hey, I want to play with new UFS cards. I think that if you wanted to play with new UFS cards, you should have to do homework. You shouldn't just get to reap the benefits of like the hard work of your like it reminds me a lot of like a group project where only some people are doing the work.
Sure.
Like you're gonna give it like you're giving this to everybody, but like only like a handful of people are going to actually give constructive feedback that's actually relevant enough to provide some type of like diagnosis. And honestly, if I was them, I wouldn't like I would expect that to be the case anyway. Like I can't imagine they are taking the bulk feedback of the community unless it is overwhelmingly negative.
Right.
I can't imagine they're listening to all of the Timmies around the world in the UFS community going, well, these guys that like I've never heard of or not heard of, like that I haven't heard playing like for very often, or I haven't seen like actually testing. Let's take their word for like law, like because there's a lot of people who just have bad opinions. There's a lot of people who are newer. There's like, and that's not a problem. It's like you're just new. You're not experienced enough to like diagnose some of these things. So I feel like the forums are even kind of jaded in that regard, where you're like. You're gonna get like if you're going strictly by like a voting system, you're gonna get some weird fucked up results at times.
Sure. Yeah, and because there's no why, right? You're really just gonna aggregate them based on like, oh, this guy got
this guy got a 7 out of 10 a lot, so he must only be a 7 out of 10 powerful, but we don't know why he's 7 out of 10 powerful.
Yeah, and add to that people are like there's skews in terms of like statistics. When people vote on things, they're much more likely to use 2 or 4 than they are to use 1 and 5, even if they believe that something is they think it's broken beyond belief to give it a 5 kind of thing, Yeah, my biggest, like, for me, like, I tried to pick characters that were obviously underplayed when I was, like, actually trying to play test. I built a bunch of decks for the characters that I hadn't seen yet, Like, and unfortunately, weren't on the list. The biggest, most revealing thing to me is that they picked their 6 characters for this week are Keto Combatir, right? The
Sure.
guy who only takes 6 from
Yeah, that
attacks,
card's yeah,
right?
that card's. We've had plenty of conversations
Yeah.
on that guy.
Dumpster Dive Diner, the guy who draws
Sure.
9 at the end of his turn, right? Because he's playing a bunch of stun attacks.
Yeah.
Tajin, the guy that's like, we're always at 4 foundations if I deal damage to
Sure.
you, right? A very, very, very aggressive guy. Colonel KFC, which is the guy that turns an attack into fatality and has a very, very ridiculous 5 diff. Like his 5 diff gives everything 2 speed and then also has a confronting Jedi enhance on it for free.
Okay.
Um, things on a stick guy. The guy who puts a card in your card pool on every one of his
Yeah,
attacks.
the most powerful defensive card or offense and defense I've ever
Yep.
seen. Yeah.
And Banana Split, the guy who does a deadlock ability for free, right? Anytime.
Yeah.
So these
Okay,
are these are
so
6 very, very powerful characters that they're like, I want information on these guys right now. Why didn't you mix
Perhaps-
in? You go ahead, sorry.
Perhaps it's okay. So perhaps they're like they want immediate responses on these guys because they are the most powerful, and
Mhm.
like this isn't necessarily how it is always going to go.
Right.
Maybe they are like, hey guys, here are what we feel are the biggest outliers to start,
Right.
and they want to maybe try and bring those back into power level with the rest of the things before playtesting really gets going. Just because like if these things are overwhelmingly more powerful,
Right.
like you're not going to have any real information playing one of the weaker characters against them at all. Like even if the weaker character is still like a solid B character, if
Right.
these characters are all like S tier,
Mm-hmm.
like on rip, you're not going to get good data playing them.
Sure you will.
Like,
you get the data about the other one. You don't get the data on
Yeah,
your stuff. On
You're
on
going to get the
bad
data
character.
on you're going to get the data on the broken one. So maybe they were
Yeah.
like, okay, well let's get these guys back to the pack and then we're going to start going into a more serious thing. I think that's wishful thinking.
Yeah, no. Hey, the thing is that if you're saying that these 6 are the really, really powerful ones and not
Mhm.
asking for suggestions, there's no point in putting those out,
Sure.
right? Right. If you're not asking for suggestions from people about it, then you already know these are way too powerful, right? They're on your radar, right? And so asking for feedback about it is just confirmation for what you already knew about those things, right?
I don't think that I don't think that I don't think that the playtest was ever intended to give like feedback
Sure.
like in a sense of like what would change the effects. I think
Right.
that more than likely what is going to happen is they go, okay, designer of this card, these guys all said this shit's broken.
Right.
How do we make this card not broken, designer of this card and this set of cards?
Right.
And then you have to go on like whatever the bias of the person who designed this set or designed that character wants the things to do, and then like it's going to keep toning from there is probably more than likely what's happening.
Sure.
I would love it if they were like, hey, how do we make this more balanced? And you could just be like, well, maybe don't let this guy minus everything to 6 every single turn
Right.
or something stupid like that.
And have 38 health.
And have 38 health,
Yeah.
of course.
And give everything 5 damage. But yeah, it's the UFS community, right? Everybody thinks they have a galaxy brain. So I mean, you're gonna why not ask for suggestions from all these
Sure.
people, right? Like, especially since this is the game where you can win cardboard and put your face on cardboard with your own text on it and stuff like that, right? Like we're
Sure.
supposed to be like we're purporting to tell people that this is a creative game where you can eventually have your own effects, then why not why stifle that creativity by just saying, tell me how broken this is it too strong? Like what should we do about this is super valuable input, even if you ignore it, right? Even if you're like, that's stupid. I think you're
Yeah.
an idiot for thinking that.
Yeah, your opinion is wrong.
Bobby.
You don't know how to
from Newark,
You don't know how to
you know?
balance things.
Yeah, like that, but like getting.
You're not the sensei, I am.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the sensei. But like you should do that, right? Because somebody might see it from a different angle that you didn't see. They will see it. That's kind of the benefit of the crowd, looking at these things, right? That's the whole purpose. But yeah, I think in implementation, they could have done all of it at once, as opposed to rolling it out kind of like staggered like it did. I mean, the fact that they're doing it is really cool. There's a lot of neat content being put out with it,
Sure.
and it's fun because there hasn't been a new set in a year, so we'll take what we can get. But, and I don't mean to just sit here and, shist upon it repeatedly. They are doing some of the right things. They could just edge it along a little bit further by
Yeah, it could have been executed better for
Yeah.
sure. It is not my favorite thing to have been rolled out.
Yeah.
It
And
seems kind of boring.
I don't want to get into like because we're here for an hour and a half about like the nitty gritty about design and stuff like that. But I did notice one thing that really irked me about the design. Like I have a lot of problems with the stuff in it, but that's like personal things because I decide. But this is like one trend that I think is distressing and should be addressed by somebody. And it's just like I have 3 rows here of foundations. I'm not going to talk about attacks. I'm not going to talk about characters. Just these foundations, and I want you to see if you think if you can find the same like thread that I'm seeing here, which is that this row of cards, enhance, destroy, end this enhanced step, fire, order, void. Creamy PG, whatever. Response flip, remove 1 action card from your discard pile after your rival plays a non-character enhanced, cancels effects. Any non-character enhanced, right? So these two I would put in a category of like, card killers, attack killers. These are good
Sure.
cards, right?
Yeah.
Enhance, and it has fire. This one has all death and void. Here we have death, evil, order, 3/6, non-block, enhance, destroy, set this attack's damage to 1. Very good card, right? That's an attack killer too. Onion, all, earth, and good. Enhance, destroy, return this attack to its printed speed, playable while committed. Enhance, commit, return this attack to its printed damage.
Card's nuts.
Very powerful card. Refusing to let go, and the flip enhance on Dark Side of Karma on 1 card. It's
Card's nuts.
very powerful, right?
That's 2/4 with a good block.
Yeah, that kills 2 of your attacks, right?
Yeah.
Just on itself. Okay, very good. And that has all earth. I already said that. Death, earth, evil. Response remove. After you lose vitality to your rival's attack or effect, gain that much vitality. Crazy. That kills an attack, and if you have multiple copies of it, like this card is not printing that way. It's just not happening.
Yeah, there's no way.
There's no way. There's no way. I had to flip the attack and damage on my windmill punch that Jose gave 6 damage because he had 4 of this out. And he would have healed back to full because he just had 4 of it. Like, it's crazy. And even then, he healed back to 20. Like, it's just nuts. It's crazy. Enhance, discard 1 card. This deck is -X damage. X equals 8 minus your printed hand size. It's future poolside date, but damage instead of speed.
Sure.
Crazy. Crazy good. Earth, fire, order. Okay? Potato wedges. Response commit after your attack gets a speed bonus, it gets 3 damage. Same response window commit if after your rival's attack, opponent please, gets a damage bonus, it gets -3 speed.
No way, dude. Just rival. All rival.
Fire, order, and void. Right? Okay, so these all have 1 of 3 symbols: death, fire, earth. Okay?
Did they all have death, fire, or earth?
Fire, death, earth, death and earth, fire.
Oh yeah, I guess they do, huh?
They all had death, fire, earth. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go to these ones. 3/5, 3 high, enhance, destroy, discard a momentum. This attack is considered fully blocked during the block step. Air, chaos, order. This is a powerful card, but there's a lot of points of interaction here that aren't present in the first row. Okay. The other
Sure,
enhance
yeah.
is this attack gets 2 speed, only playable if it shares 2 symbols with your character. Okay. Criteria for that's cool. It's a you can have multiple copies of this. It's not unique. It's a very powerful card, but it's not quite end this enhanced step. It's not quite
Yeah.
return
it
to
doesn't
printed
end the
damage.
step. It doesn't return
And
to printed damage.
yeah, and it doesn't answer throws quite as well, and it requires the momentum that these ones don't have. Okay, that's a powerful card. Okay, let's go to the next one. Air, life, water. Enhance flip if this attack is blocked, it deals no damage. This is an incredible card, right? Kieran Soul is in all of its symbols all the time. Has no block. This one has a block. It's a 2/5. Very powerful. It's the only effect on it. Still requires a block on
Sure.
it, right? A lot of these cards don't require you to block. They just require you to respond on the card. And it's a one-time use,
Yeah,
just like
take
this guy,
damage
right?
and gain a whole wealth back.
Right. There's stuff like this. You end the enhanced step, right? Set this attack's damage to 1. You just use 1 card. This one still requires you to use 2 cards. Okay. All right. Continuing. Response commit. This one is air, life, and void. After your rival plays an ability on a foundation, cancels its effect. It's unique. This one is not unique. It
It's
cancels.
damnation with a block. Guys.
Damnation with a
It's
block
so
is
good.
that's good. People like that. I never played Damnation. I think that card's bad.
No,
But I
me
know some
neither.
people
Card
really
sucks.
like it. But like this is Damnation with a block. That's all it is. Nothing really new. It has a character enhance, I guess. Air, chaos, life, enhance, destroy 1 foundation. This attack gets -2 speed. 0/4, 2 high block. This is a very powerful card. Akin to that T-Hawk card. I think it's like finding what's lost.
Yeah, it's at least good. Because
It's
the
good.
T-Hawk card's at least good. Yeah.
It's good. It still requires you to expend some serious resources. It's not flip one. It's not.
Yeah, it's not free.
Destroy one. Right. Continuing a response flip if your rival plays an attack, change its zone to high. Requires some specific things in your hand. You got to hold all your high blocks, I guess, when you have this 1/5. But that's powerful, right? It says that I'm gonna maybe block this, because
Sure.
it was a different zone than I had. But again, just like the Meh, It's Okay card, it requires you to use 2
You
cards.
actually have to be able to block.
Yeah. Enhanced Flip, if this is the second copy or greater of this attack played this turn, discard it from the card pool. Enhanced Speed, very, very good. No block, really. It checks a 4. Requires it to be the second copy. And it's Enhanced Speed. It's not Response Speed like Beast
Yeah,
Hunter or like
that's
that.
the worst Beast Hunter of all time.
Yeah, it doesn't have another effect. I mean, this is a very powerful enhance. This is a thing your opponent has to consider, but it's something that already exists in the format, and it's not as good. Flipping the card adds to the progressive difficulty. This one discards
Yeah.
it, so they don't have progressive. Okay, and then the final one, this is good life and water. Its defensive enhance is commit for -2 speed, which is something that we saw a lot on 1 diffs in the past, right?
Sure.
Just-
Yeah, that's like a 1 diff effect.
Yeah, it has a very powerful enhance on the other thing, but like
Its other effect is at least pretty good. I
Yeah,
don't know
it's
about
pretty
very
good.
powerful. It's
yeah,
at least
it's
pretty
good.
good.
It's
though.
pretty good. I mean, that Summer Vacation did this to any attack, right?
Yeah.
This one. Anyway, I was talking about the defensive thing, and then there's this third category, which is this card, which is the most.
Card's dog shit.
It's the absolute worst 2 diff I've ever seen in my life.
This card
Destroy.
is dog shit.
Yeah.
There
So-
are 1/5s that do that.
Yeah. So before I you can hear what I'm talking about here, but my point, before I talk about my point, it's these cards some of them are clearly from My Hero. Alright? Like, that's not a shocker to anybody. Which means that these cards in these playtests, right, need to support 2 formats. There needs to be the stuff that is
Yeah.
going to add to universes, right, and UFS.
Sure.
The cards that are going to, like, these have to be good enough to see play in universes, or else people are just going to be playing the same old stuff. Okay, that's one thing. Second thing is they need to be spammable, and they need to be very good, which is why there's not many unique cards. The cards with the unique symbol. There's tons of unique cards if you want.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be the only stuff in the format, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be
There
a
needs to
smaller
be
format.
great spam. There needs to be great 2 diffs, great 3 diffs. That's why there's so many cards that are like kill and attack, right? Because this format is not going to have any of the other stuff. It's not going to have the Guardian's Final Duties. It's not going to have Dark Side of Karma. It's not going to have Refusing to Let Go. It's not going to have any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So it has to stand on its own 2 legs too by itself, right? Now, if I were me, and I am me, and I were designing this thing, that's a tall order, right? That's the tough thing to do, to make it good enough for the old thing, but also be able to stand on its own 2 legs in this new format,
Sure.
right? Like because you won't have the context of the older stuff, right? You ask yourself a couple questions. As far as defense goes, across the board, right? One of the reasons why some symbols are way worse is speed, right?
Yeah.
Dealing with attacks in general, but speed is a really big one, right? Chaos, water, void, void and chaos basically just have face of a monster. And that's essentially all they have. Really, really strong card, right? But and it's because those symbols are not air. They're not life, which have a lot of speed hate on them. Like that's their theme, is that they're air deals speed shit. That's fine, right? There are other ways to deal with being able to block attacks. Why doesn't Chaos have a Guardian of the Spirit Sword type effect, where instead of like give this attack -2 speed or -3 speed if it's a thing, why doesn't it say once per turn, give my check to block an attack +2? Right?
Yeah, I mean, there are ways to make it so you can block
Yeah,
attacks
there
without
are-
necessarily
Air
stepping
could
on
be
the toes of dumb shit.
Yeah,
or whatever.
air could be readying a card, or it could say you can use this. This counts as 2 foundations to block
Sure.
cards, right? Like there's
Sure.
tons of ways to get to that place, right? So that's one thing that you could be doing, to just say like every symbol should have a 1/5 that counts as 2 for blocking purposes, right? The 1/5
Yeah.
that gives -2 speed, right? Like
Pretty much, yeah.
that was a lot of stuff
that's the equivalent.
yeah, that's what we want. Every symbol should have spam that does like flips for -2 speed, or it counts as 2. That's really what it is, right? Because when you commit for -2 speed, you're just counting it as 2.
Yeah.
Or flipping for -2 is actually quote unquote 3, but it's not spammable. But like these cards, right? and I know I'm not. There's only one of these things that really accepts this criteria, right? They don't. There's no like consistency. There's no like. It doesn't seem like we were like, well, this is how we deal with X situation, or this is how we deal with a very fast attack, a very big attack. Um, every symbol should have access to these things because that's how you create parity, right?
Yeah.
When symbols can deal with similar situations very well, you get parity as opposed to skewing in either direction, right? Where one
Oh yeah,
symbol
dude.
is
Those
really
are like rich get richer cards for sure.
yeah, and that's a great way to put it. Is that these cards down here, right? These cards down here are all on symbols that are
Like yeah, I would do you one better. Instead of saying fire, just they have order.
they have order. Yeah, a lot of them have order too.
Order,
yeah,
death,
order's
earth.
killer.
They have one of them's got good. Some of them have all.
Yeah.
But like yeah,
But
those are very much rich get richer cards.
yeah,
And like that 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 flip to make an attack high thing is the silliest attack or silliest foundation to me because like underneath it there are so many cards that are just like return this attack to printed speed or return this attack to damage or do nothing. That card literally just changes the zone and doesn't like reduce its speed, which is so weird to me.
I think she has
Imagine
another
that card
card.
was like flip -2 speed and change it to a high.
Yeah, sure.
That's so good.
At enhanced speed. You know.
Yeah. That'd be so good.
Yeah, I think that character also has a card that like returns a high attack to printed speed, right?
Sure.
But that's a 2-card combo that you need. You need to flip your
Yeah.
1/5, and you need to also have this other thing, as
And you
opposed
need to have a
to
block.
this card that literally just says, "I'm going to use this in its printed speed." You know, like printed speed is something that should probably be on more. Like that's a general like purpose thing. It's kind of like like maybe Spike Spiegel and Bakugo fight totally different. Both those guys know how to do this, right?
Yeah.
Both those guys know how
I
to.
actually I hate that because like assuming some of those are My Hero cards, I hate that they're gonna introduce those kind of cards into that format. I think that is the stupidest thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why don't just make good generally good defensive cards instead of trying to make your My Hero format into UFS
Right.
or into UVS?
Cute.
That's
clever.
not what you should do.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it would be totally fine and acceptable for them to just make generally decent, okay effects because not every set has to be Libra of Souls where every foundation's good.
Right.
That's stupid. First of all, if you're like a symbol, like any given symbol should get like maybe 3 super good cards per set. Not like, well, Earth just got 20 good cards.
Right.
Earth is now suddenly playable because we released Libra of Souls, and it got 10 good cards or 10 good foundations in addition to whatever it already had.
Right.
It's dumb. It's dumb.
Yeah.
Like if you made the My Hero set based around itself, and also that goes back to the playtest thing that I didn't even fucking think about. Why are we testing not just testing the My Hero stuff by itself?
Yep. Yeah, that's not a thing that we're doing.
You're gonna have a fucked up format.
Yeah.
If you don't just allow the people to test the My Hero stuff in a bubble.
Yeah, alone.
Because like you're just gonna end up with fucked up shit that's tested for a 13 set fucking UVS thing for some reason because the game is huge all the time. That's dumb. These cards shouldn't exist in a new format. You shouldn't have cards that say end this attack in new format. No one's gonna want to play this game.
Right.
You're trying to get new people into the game. You want to introduce them with My Hero and then let them branch into universes. You don't want it to just be like, oh, I guess I don't get to attack my opponent in this game. That's pretty fucking lame.
Yep.
Or some people going, wow, I don't understand why I don't get good cards like that when it's balanced around a 13 set format for no reason.
Yep.
Like, that's stupid.
Yeah.
That's so dumb. If you made My Hero, sorry, one more thing. If you made My Hero slightly more powerful, slightly less powerful than Bebop, and that was your like restricted power level of that format, you're still gonna find good cards, but it's still gonna be fun because people loved playing Bebop as much as like bitching about it. And like your format's not gonna be some kind of crazy egregious thing like what UVS is like trending towards. UVS is trending so far upward into just big, ridiculous, dumb effects that it's like getting unplayable again.
Yeah.
Because it's an arms race, and it's an arms race that just keeps multiplying for no reason instead of just toning stuff back and accepting that like it's not going to be super good for like the whole existence of it. Like you got to tone things back.
Mhm.
We can't keep going. All right, well, I printed an 8 damage attack. All right, well, now I need to make a card that gets rid of the attack. Okay, well, now I need to get rid of make a card that can't be getting rid of. Okay, well, now I got to get rid of this thing to get this. Like, dude, it's absurd.
Yeah.
You just showed me like 4 cards that cancel like attacks.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Yeah.
Why?
Yep. And,
I don't even think Guardian's Final Judgment should be a card.
Yeah, I agree with that. If you played
If
in
more
the Death
people played
Raptor, dude.
Raptor, that card would get banned.
Yeah.
But nobody plays Raptor right now.
Yeah.
That card should be banned. That card is nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But like, this is stupid. This is absolutely absurd to me.
Yeah.
Like,
And
I think
these
the
are
playtesting is doing.
these are just the foundations that I picked out, right? I picked these out. I'm putting out a
And you
storyline.
picked out really good ones.
Yeah. Well, these are.
I'm sure that there are other good ones offensively that
Yeah.
are similar, where it just makes an attack huge for no reason.
Oh, for sure. They're over here.
Yeah, look,
Um, But
it's
the
ridiculous.
big thing is that, like, if your goal is to make this set, right? And these are not all of these are going to be from My Hero, right? Like,
No, not
there's also obviously Yu Yu Hakusho things, right? But like some of these are in there, right? And I'm not gonna go because I don't want to be the guy spoiling everything, right? I'm not gonna make conjecture. But like, if your goal is to make something that is good enough for its own format, and also good enough for the old stuff, right? You're just you're doing kind of the opposite, where like these symbols are clear winners and these symbols are clear losers, and these symbols are already clear winners in the last thing, and these symbols are already clear losers in the
those
last
are already
one,
the losers,
right?
dude.
Like it's just perpetuating something instead of trying to address the problem in the old thing while also, creating this new format that's supposed to be cool and stuff. It's like we're just playing the same old game, right? And so the people who are playing UVS are never just going to play My Hero, right? Unless it's like the prizes are so crazy. Because why would I do that? It's
Well,
the same
I
thing
I
but
think
worse,
that
right?
more than likely they'll play both, but it won't be exclusive.
Sure. Yeah,
it won't be
yeah,
an
yeah.
exclusive jump.
Sure. But like I know, like I heard from a lot of people who are like, I hope that My Hero stuff is a little bit more toned down because I'd like to play a more toned down version of UFS, right?
Sure.
I
don't want it to be an arms race all the time.
And I agree with that, right? And so some people are going to be like, well, why would I just play this stuff, which is the same as Universus, but without all of the options that I'm used to, right? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is just the same thing. Like, and like, I'm pointing this out specifically because you can, like, whenever you talk to anybody about their dissatisfaction with a symbol, it's usually like, Earth is too good. Or chaos sucks. Void sucks.
Yeah, you get to do too many. They get to do too many things. I don't get to do anything.
Right, and the chiefest thing among them is that, like, for a lot of the really powerful stuff, they have generic, extremely powerful effects, or maybe the baseline is just very good. Like the floor for what they do is very, very good, right? Whereas the powerful stuff on the other symbols are like, I have to reach that floor and it's much, much steeper, right? Like, in order to get up on top of this very powerful effect, I have to do something crazy. Like, chaos is always like, you have to have 2 or more momentum, right?
If you play like an Earth, like Astaroth 2.net right now, you can play like so many different foundations that just give your attack 5 damage.
Yeah.
What the fuck does Void have to do to get a damage pump? Do you know, like, okay, hear me out on this one.
Yeah.
What if Void printed a unique foundation that said, once per turn, this attack gets damage equal to the difference between your opponent's printed and current hand size?
Sounds good to me, dude.
It sounds like Void, maybe Void would be a symbol again.
Right.
Because they got the downward spiral enhance that they need, but not on a broken attack.
Right. You have to assemble these two things. Yeah.
They literally need that effect to win.
Mm-hmm.
But because it was attached to something too powerful, they don't get to play anymore. Like, discard discard's not a theme because you can't kill anybody. Who cares?
Right.
What are you discarding these cards for?
Right.
You're discarding the cards so you can do like 7 damage to your opponent, and then your opponent gets to draw an entirely new hand, because discard is actually disadvantageous in that regard, where your opponent gets to draw a whole new hand size.
Mm-hmm.
So like you gave your opponent like 2 extra review steps to do 7 damage to them.
Yeah.
That's stupid. It's so bad.
Yeah. My biggest hope for for the playtest cards in general is that I would like the cute shit dialed back and just make things a baseline, right? every symbol should have access to something like this. Every symbol should. Every symbol should have access to speed hate. Good generic speed hate.
Speed
Every
hate in some
symbol.
regard, at least.
Yeah. And I'm saying speed hate, whether it be ready cards, give it minus speed, plus to my check, right?
Minus my block modifier.
My block
Let's keep
modifier.
going, yeah.
There's so many ways to do this thing. It doesn't have to be clever either. It's just numbers, right? It's not hard to come to this conclusion. That's if you're trying to do an identity thing. You could literally just give every symbol one card that just is that symbol, 1/5 minus 2 speed, and just be like, that's it. Or make it an infinity symbol thing, and like, whatever. I don't think that you should do that. I think that's dumb. But, like, you could do that, and it would be important, because every symbol needs that. Okay?
I think I think that a big hurdle for them to get over and design for a brand new format is that they're gonna have to understand that the symbol identity thing is too silly.
Sure.
I'm not saying that they can't be like these things do cool stuff. Like like this symbol does this thing, this symbol does but like you're gonna introduce this game to a whole bunch of brand new weebs.
Yep.
Who are gonna be coming from real card games.
Mm-hmm.
Like absolutely, these they're gonna be coming from like I'm
Magic
not
and
Digimon a
Yu-Gi-Oh
real
and
card game, but they're
sure.
gonna be coming from like Magic. They're gonna be coming from Yu-Gi-Oh. Probably people who played
Pokemon.
White Shorts, people who played
White Shorts,
Pokemon,
yeah.
people who played fucking Digimon, people who come from all these games where it's gonna be more fleshed out and understandable to them why certain things do different things.
Yeah.
Like these cards have they have different symbols, they have different colors, they have different blah 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 blah. You know, like I mean, I'm not necessarily Yu-Gi-Oh. Yu-Gi-Oh just kind of fucking throw your fucking nuts on the table and see what happens. But like, if you're getting like Magic the Gathering weebs, they're gonna be like, okay, but like, why don't I get to do any of that without any clear explanation on this? Why I can't do it? Because like to them, it's gonna look like, okay, well, we have a bunch of split symbol, like we have a bunch of mixed colored cards, like in Magic, like you get like a mixed colored abilities, where like you get to do a little bit of both. But these aren't like that at all. This is kind of like this is stupid. Like it's gotten to a point where it's absurdity. Like there isn't symbol identity unless there is.
Yeah,
there isn't symbol identity unless it's a detriment to one of the symbols. there literally isn't. All can do everything.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
All has speed hate. All has draw. All has everything.
Yeah.
But like Chaos can't do fucking anything.
Yeah, Chaos can't be a symbol.
Chaos can't do anything
because
their gimmick is control checks and momentum.
Yeah.
Which are not powerful effects. So they can't do anything.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is that it's really easy to make those abilities very, 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 very strong. So they usually gate them behind something that's really
gate them behind a lot.
Yeah. And like what you need is good, strong, generic effects, especially for this new game.
Either Chaos would either need a better, easier way to generate momentum, like a very quick way to do it, on like a 1/5 spam like they've had in the past, like Hunters Once More was a 1/5 where if you played another copy of it, you could add it to your card pool. Or to your momentum. It needs a card like that to generate fast momentum, or its momentum effects need to be absolute blowouts, because momentum is the shittiest resource in the game. Unless you can snap your momentum on the attack that you're using the momentum for, it's not even playable, generally.
Right.
Because there's so many ways of just dealing with it.
Yeah, I like it's kind of revealing that like Rando is kind of the epitome of the Chaos symbol in general. He's the checks and momentum guy, and nobody has ever played that character on Chaos.
No one's played that guy in Chaos once.
Not a single time.
That is an all character if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, that's just
that's
how
an
it
all
is.
character because you get to play Meteor and Ready your True Identity even more, and your True Identity in him is way better.
Yeah, that's insane. Yeah, you get to give it +1/+1.
Because your True Identity in him is 2/2 on your Meteor.
On your Meteor, yeah. It's. I think it's not that difficult to get to the point where it would be healthy and good for both ends of the game, right? It's just like stop with the arms race that attacks and defense have, right? It doesn't. We can work this out, man.
We can talk about it.
Yeah,
can we get the Cold War, by the way? Like, can I get a Cold War of this arms race where we just keep things at baseline and hopefully that's fine, dude, or what?
Like, and
if you want to tell me the baseline for good attacks is shotgun, I will be totally fine with that. I have no issue with the baseline of a good attack being a card I have to play on an 8 to do a lot of damage.
Sure. Yeah.
I have no issues with that. But I do have issues with you're like, all right, but what if we just print these other cards that are just like shotgun, but they only have to be played on a 5 and they do 12 damage? It's like,
right.
Why?
Or Reverberate that does 21 at a 4 diff.
Yeah, I think that the design needs to. It's gonna need to like the designers of the game and like Jason, in my opinion, need to have a conversation because we aren't just balancing for one. It's not gonna be balancing for one game anymore.
Right.
So I think there needs to be like an honest conversation with the man and be like, hey, listen, we want to be able to do identity things, but these identity things have to be equal.
Yep.
Because drawing cards is way better than hacking checks. Drawing cards is way better than discard in this game.
Right.
Like, whatever the good symbol is supposed to do, is the good symbol's identity have the best attacks, or is the good symbol's identity just to be the most expensive? I can't really tell.
Good symbol builds a ton of cards, right?
And has $50 cards.
And has $50 cards.
Ah, the good symbol is that its simple identity is that it's expensive to build the deck. I
Sure.
get it. I get it. But like, no, it's like, dude, that's a better effect than what is water supposed to do these days?
Water is supposed to be the card pool stuffing.
Oh wait, I guess like okay, that's
slash
pretty good, but the problem is that
speed
those cards also
and
have alt for no
multiples.
reason.
Well, yeah, well they're supposed to be the card pool like command center, right? And it's only good in specific situations because of like a card printed in the DLC because of Royal Bodyguard, you know.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to be the multiple guy. It's supposed to
Sure,
be.
sure.
It's supposed to be. You know.
All right, I won't talk about water. Water's on the come up. I like water. We won't talk about water. Water's got Cecilica and Reverberate. Water's fine by me, baby.
It's doing okay. It has like 3 good pilots or 3 good.
It's just like there's such like discrepancies on what these symbols do, and it's just like it's very clear to anybody who like plays card games. Like some effects are just fucking better.
Yeah, sure.
So like you got to either like symbol identity has to be like things around the same power level.
Yep.
Or you have to be like more generalized with it. You have to be like, okay, well these like everybody's allowed to do this.
Yeah, well I
think do this.
I think at a baseline, you know, printing a set where every symbol has access to, or like every character, I'll say every character has access to a speed reset, a damage dump, and a quick -2 speed, or like my foundation counts as 2 for blocking purposes.
I think that's a little bit that'd be a little bit more boring of a set. I know what, like, I get what you're saying. I totally understand that. And I think it's possible to do that over the course of like a couple sets.
Sure.
I think if your baseline set is like everybody's effects are kind of the same, it's a little less impactful.
Well, I'm not saying only that. I'm just saying that they should have access to that, right?
Yeah.
Across
No,
your
I think
symbol
that
spread.
like you should be able to play off of any given symbol at least one card that helps you block.
Well, the My Hero set is supposed to be a 16 character set, right?
Yeah, it's a core set basically.
Right? It's going to be a core set. If you look at like Hearthstone, when it had its base set, and there's like that's the only game I can think of that had like a base set, right? And like they were like, this is, and it's always standard, right? Like these are the generic what these things do. Like why not have something like that? Why not use Red Horizon to be like, okay?
Well, even in that regard, those things that are like the generic, these are what things do, typically follow in line with like a symbol type.
Sure, but you can do what I'm talking about, where like you get Chaos messes with its own checks to get that same effect of -2 or 3 speed, right? Whatever,
sure.
You know. Earth directly deals with the damage thing, right?
Sure.
Air directly deals with the speed thing. Water might flow with the amount of things in the card pool or something like that, minus speed for each card in the card. Like there's things like that you can do that scale and do things properly. And I think that this game could, because it has these symbols that have identities, it would probably be a good idea to have a base set, like a core set that's like, this is
absolutely.
what that symbol is. This is what that symbol
I think they were
does.
trying to do that with Red Horizon, but they power crept it out, and also it's been out for 4 years, so like, who gives a shit?
Sure.
Yeah. I think step one is to make the format not 12 sets long or whatever. But
sure. I could. Yeah, I agree with that.
I think that if the format was 8 sets, the game.
If this year has shown us anything, it's that wow, when you have this many sets of stuff, it gets nuts. People go crazy.
Yeah. But
I'm
like,
amazed
I
that we're
think
still
we
playing
both,
this game.
I think we both kind of agree on the same point where like
Yeah.
playtest needs to like step it up for a 2 format,
Mhm.
like where you have to like,
And
not even necessarily playtest, but like design.
Yeah,
Design has to
and
step it up.
yeah,
I don't think we're really
design.
complaining about playtest. I think that the playtesting thing they should let people know they literally should let people know these are the My Hero characters because they have to test for that format, and I'm
Sure.
not sure why they haven't done that.
There's maybe
I
in
didn't
the
even
future.
think about that until we were talking about it.
Yeah, that I it's something that I think I said last week that they should do. But I'm hoping that eventually they're gonna do that, where it's like this is the My Hero playtest. We're playtesting for this format, and you can
Yeah.
garner what you will and like make, but like that's important. It's important for the health of that format,
It's super important.
Yeah.
It's super important.
Yeah. But
Well, besides that, I think we've kind of killed playtest. We've murdered it, and I think we all each kind of I think we've talked about playtest on so many different streams
yeah,
throughout the past week that it's kind of beating it with a dead horse. I know we did need to touch on it,
yeah.
do our due diligence as content creators,
Mm-hmm.
give it a little bit of a spice it up with our little seasonings and such.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, let's fucking move on to this PTC coming up or whatever the fuck they're calling it. I'm calling it a PTC.
It's
a
basically
PTC.
it's an online PTC, right?
No Combat Ash.
No
He's
Combat
gone.
Ash.
He's
gone.
fucking gone. The community bitching. I like to think that it's specifically me, because every time I mention things need to get banned, they do.
All right.
It was clearly my fault. I banned him for you guys. You're very welcome. He gone. He gone. No more boon to our society. No more infinite defensive works. Yeah, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. We got a new we got a new old format now, boys.
Right? Where you don't have to think about this thing. Yeah, there's still some really powerful dudes out there, but Combat Ash was kind of the far and away the best of them. And
little gatekeepy,
Yeah.
but I still don't expect to see a literal single different thing than what you would expect.
Yeah.
Like, I think the format is beyond solved. Like,
Or close to it.
You can't mask like the standard format behind retro.
Sure,
for long enough
sure. Like
to
there's
like
nobody's
for it to not have been figured out already.
nobody's gonna come in like I forget which Rochester guy was playing Sebastian with the infinite combo.
Yeah,
deck,
the Ryan Fields infinite
Ryan
like
Fields,
kunai's
Ryan
deck
Fields.
or whatever.
Yeah. Like I don't think that's coming from anywhere. I think that there's a lot like you people kind of know what's going to be coming to it. The interesting thing is that because it's the standard is so wide, it's like you have to kind of hedge your bets as to what you can answer, right? Like there's a lot of varieties. Yeah, there's a lot of varieties of aggro. There's a lot of varieties of control. And they all function kind of like similar but different enough that you would have to like if you're playing something like really good, you got to make sure that your game plan is clear and like isn't completely washed by something, and your defense isn't completely washed by something either, right? Like my big three in my head coming into this is like I need to be able to function with cards in my card pool because Precise Blow and Royal Bodyguard,
and even Shiva to that extent,
and Shiva in general, right? They're very, very powerful, right? I'm not going to play a combo deck. I'm just not going to play a combo deck into that.
Sure.
Just because it's too.
It's almost impossible.
It's really tough. I think that you need to be able to functionally defend against really big throws, whether that be by having a larger health pool or access to throw hate, because there are some characters that are just eating Vicious Madness and the rando throw and shotguns for just 16 plus damage, and so you need to be able to deal with throws.
Numbers.
And then the last thing is you need to be able to deal with Kevin Burberg. I think he's the third one on my. It's just like Princess. It's Princess Perry plus hack to your check. That's like you have to be able to deal with potentially not having 3 attacks in your hand. So you need to be able to blow them out early, or be able to play the long game better than him, I suppose, dealing with all those assets, which is a tall order. And I guess like people are really worried about Cowboy Andy. Oh, that's more like a Meteor plus his foundation thing.
Cowboy Andy's a little bit of a weird one to me, where I think in standard he's obviously worse, but it's like what degree of worse. And I also think I guess along the lines of your Kevin Broberg thought, you need to just be able to deal with assets.
Sure.
We played a game earlier. Immediately, I was playing a dog shit character with a fun gimmick, But like some you just can't beat some assets right now. Some
Yeah.
assets are actually just unbeatable.
Yeah.
Like some assets straight up shit on strategies.
Yeah, if you're playing any deck that relies on a weapon opener that sort of like lubes up your turn,
Soul Calibur,
you
you're
need to deal
fucked.
with Soul Calibur, right? If you're playing Destruction,
if you want to clog your opponent's card pool, you have to be able to deal with Owl Shield or whatever the shield is that
Yeah, that's
lets
big.
you.
Yeah, when I played
Elk Shield.
when
I
I
don't know
played
which one it is.
King in the retro format, and I played against a Terry, I was like, my entire sideboard was to deal with Owl Shield. He just didn't happen to be playing it, but
Because like it just lets you block. It's so weird.
yeah,
Like
it doesn't matter if you have 9 cards in your card pool.
I think it's totally fine that assets have like a really good power level because I think they're basically unplayable without it.
Sure.
It's just like you make sure you have asset hate, please, guys.
Yeah, I think that good, generic, good, like I said good twice, clean, easy to access asset hate is really, really important. Not just because the top of the format is really, really asset heavy. You know, Combat Dash is gone, but that still leaves Cassandra, still leaves Sungmina, still leaves Kevin Broberg. Spike is a character on water who really relies on an asset to like get his motor running. So like cards like Hacker Extraordinaire, really, really, really powerful. Herald of Germania, you know, even like Gro's Action is one that people.
I love Herald of Germania, and I don't know where it went other than those symbols suck.
Yeah, I mean it has air, fire, and life, right?
Life, yeah.
Yeah, and
those symbols are bad, but I love that card.
Yeah, it's a great card. I mean, Homemade Explosives got reprinted in the PTC I won, by the way. I have that mat with
You won that
Homemade
PTC?
Explosives. Yeah, I did win that PTC.
What PTC was that?
It was ours in Florida.
Oh,
It was our
shit.
Davey PTC.
Wait, I also got those.
Did you come? You didn't come down here though.
No, I went. I won Indy.
Oh, was it in the same month
It must have been.
of November? Yeah, it must have been November.
Oh yeah, it was November. Yeah, I won
Yeah, it was
Indy.
November. That's funny. So you also
I was
have
like, why- I was like, I
a
have
Homemade
50 of
Explosive
those.
mat?
Where did-
Did they give you the Homemade Explosive mat too?
Oh wait, maybe I got Power Struggles, and they gave me Homemade Explosives because I had to wait so long.
Oh, that might be it.
Yeah, I think that is the case. Yeah, I
Okay.
actually got Power Struggles.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was I saying? Yeah, just clean, easy. Acid hate is, I think, very important. You know, just because you will get washed by some of them. You know.
Sure.
And you'll do better just by being able to, you know, hone in on your game plan and not be interrupted by. If you're playing a combo deck,
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah.
Don't play
I mean,
combo.
you're more of the guru of the format. I mean, you guys play in like a lot of the weeklies and stuff. I assume that the format's mostly like you got Spike. I assume people play Shiva. I assume people
Yeah,
play
Shiva's a big one.
Goro. So Spike and Goro. There's gonna be. Wow, I am drawing a blank on what good characters are in the format.
I think.
Fill me out a little bit here.
I would,
cannot
if I
think
had
about
a like top 8 that I was not surprised at all about, it would be like Shiva, Spike, Cassandra. I think that
Cassandra, yeah.
Cassandra's still great. Raptor is still great. Scorpion is still great. Solinka's up there. I think that Kevin Broberg. I think that Dejanet is one that people don't put the time into. But if somebody put a lot of time into that character, easily top. I think that she's very, very good. She's just kind of
I've heard
Yoshimitsu.
good things about new Raphael. He's pretty good, right? Or-
I think he's too vulnerable. He's
okay.
very, very strong offensively. But he's like he explodes. He just explodes.
Sure.
What's Astaroth? New Astaroth. Both Astaroths actually. The old one is one of the best Hellfire Impalement decks. The new one, you know, it's an actual. You got to think about how he's going to yeet a Dragon's Tongue for double your life total.
Or just a throw for like 70.
Yeah, or just
Like-
a huge fucking
Like give
honking
10
throw.
difficulty to my Titan Bomb.
Yeah. Of the DLC characters, I think that Astaroth 2 is maybe. I mean, there's probably going to be a Wen because Jose is insufferable with that character, but
Dude, Wen kind of fucks. I love Wen.
I
I,
think
actually think that character is so good.
I think you have to be Jose though, because
I think that card is. I think it's so good.
Yeah.
Jose is very lucky, but I think being
Yeah.
able to like cancel
Sure.
basically 2 cards is so good.
Yeah,
you
he's
get it
very
on
good.
defense and you get it on offense.
Yeah, he's great. And he does it on the first turn, no matter what.
Oh yeah.
Andy, another big outlier.
Yeah.
Bakugo's S tier, of course.
Bakugo sucks. That character sucks. If you play Bakugo though, I would, I'd be happy and excited to watch.
Yusuke.
Yoshimitsu.
Yoshi,
I,
yeah,
I mean, I
Yoshi.
guess the format's pretty big enough and
Yeah.
pretty open.
There's
Like,
open.
We got a lot of good. There's a lot of good characters.
Yeah.
There's clearly some that are head and shoulders, like, in my opinion, better. But
Sure.
we made the tier list like a week or so ago.
Yeah,
Weeks
yeah,
ago.
yeah.
And I just am too. I'm just too fucking dumb to remember what I put in the A tier.
If I were to have like my favorites to win are like Yoshimitsu, Andy,
picks himself. Wow.
and Scorpion.
Wow.
I think that those three
Wow.
characters are like and maybe Spike. I think that Spike is another like really clear. I think Cassandra.
Someone's got a fucked up Goro deck out there, and they're gonna win the whole thing.
I think there's just a Fire Goro with that what's that card? It's like combos with 2 stuns and yeets its multiple copies out. But I think that it's easy to disrupt. Like I think somebody will be able to disrupt that. Like Goro gets the top cut pretty easily and then has trouble winning it most of the time.
Yeah, sealing the deal.
Yeah. Same thing for like Kevin Broberg. I think that Kevin Broberg at some point is going to face somebody who has 2 copies of Dark Kirito and he's going to die.
Sure.
And so like I would be surprised if a Kevin Broberg deck did win. I think that it could easily, a Swiss champ. I think that
Sure.
that would be that I wouldn't be that surprised about it, but I think that it'll probably die in top cuts to something like an Andy or just like a generic Earth Wall, Good Wall sort of thing.
Okay.
That can play the
Okay.
game with him. I also think Yoshimitsu can play with Kevin Broberg, and he has great game into pretty much every 6 or 7 hander in the format.
Yeah, Yoshimitsu's got a lot of things going for him that I do enjoy.
Yeah.
He is the best momentum gen in the game.
Yep.
Manji, well, second best because he's not
Second best.
Janet.
He's not Janet, and he's not. Well, Ash is gone, so F in the chat for that guy. And by F in the chat, I mean fuck that guy.
Yeah, fuck that guy. The F stands for fuck.
Yeah, but we'll see.
Fuck
We'll see.
you.
I think it's gonna be it's exciting because it's like it's the first actual standard event of this year since Worlds.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it'll be cool to see what everybody's been cooking up.
And I'm not even playing in it. Isn't that fucked up?
That is fucked up. Why aren't you playing in it?
I don't know. I told Tam I would. Maybe I'll revisit it. He told me to let him know by the end of the day.
Let him know by the end of the day, bud.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I don't know, man. I don't have any decks I like.
You didn't like what? Man, I don't know. Like, there's. I think that you would enjoy all Janet. I think that you would enjoy Yoshimitsu. Not my Yoshimitsu, but like a Yoshimitsu, a more aggressive
Sure.
one. I know you didn't like Andy, but
That was so boring.
yeah, I do think he's kind of like
That was so
your
fucking
Ken deck,
boring.
but less explosive, which is weird to say. But you just have to sack. Andy has to sack.
Yeah.
Like a
He's
whole
a big
event.
sack boy.
He has to sack the entire event.
Yeah, we'll see though. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. It's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be a big event.
Yeah. There is
lots of
diversity.
people- I expected. Oh yeah, there is diversity. You can't have a 10-card side deck for no clear reason, and I'm pretty sure I don't get to look at my opponent's deck list.
No, none of
All
the
those rules. All
yeah.
those rules that they decided were good enough to test in a different online
because
tournament.
this
are
one
not
is
good enough
this one is
for
more
this one.
serious because it's
It's not
standard.
that serious.
It's not.
It's stupid.
I
It's
agree with
fucking. It's the same fucking dumb online
Yeah.
thing. If you're testing, you just keep testing.
Some exciting things is I had to beg, plead, and suck off JJ Mark Tyner to come play at it.
JJ Martiner.
So
We got
there-
Bo Tucker
we
already
got
signed up.
Bo Tucker signed up.
We have maybe a Piglet sighting. Who knows?
That would be cool. So a lot of old hats is going to be like bigger names.
Yeah, it could be fun.
It'd be really fun to see these guys playing the game again. I'm excited to see what I know. JJ has a really funny deck that he's playing, and Mark has just been being Mark about it, where he's like, "Well, I could play this turn 1 Yusuke deck, but."
He's gonna play some of the most dumb shit. He's gonna play something broken.
Yeah.
He's gonna play fucking Kevin Broberg.
Yeah. No, he told me that he
Mark Tyner flat out refuses to play anything that's fair anymore.
he told me that he wanted to save his Kevin Broberg deck for like
Oh,
a
for, like, a
real
real
event.
tournament?
Yeah, he wanted to save it
That's
for a real
fair.
event. Yeah. But we'll see. I'm excited to see what they bring out. I'm excited to see what everybody brings out. I'm sure this can be cool stuff. It'll be really neat if like I'm surprised by some stuff. It would really cool to be surprised by a
Yeah.
format that's been around for 9 months.
You guys might even see Ivy Blade Scorpion, boys.
Oh boy.
We're in there.
Okay.
All right, I think we've beaten a dead horse here. We've gone over our shit. Hopefully we've got some exciting news for you guys in the future coming up. Remember to hit all the fucking buttons, like, subscribe.
Yeah,
follow
for
us.
everybody who wanted to buy at Sabir, we're gonna work on a Patreon.
We're working on Patreon things, and we
Yeah.
will definitely accept all of your free money.
For sure.
Free money, obviously, that we work for with more exclusive things.
Yeah.
And more fun stuff to cook up for you guys.
Yep.
Anyways, that's the end of this episode, guys. We're gonna get this out. We're gonna fucking talk to you guys about dumb shit again, and we'll see us on Saturday. At least doing something. You'll either hear me commentating or losing my fucking mind in Discord servers. We're out of here, guys. Have a good night.